Live. We are live on twitch.tv/duellinksmeta. We are reviewing the new box today, so if you want to come on in, new box, new Dante. We're going to be talking about the new nerfed skills right now in this video. Let's get right into it. Boom, skill balance update. Now, it looks like it won't officially come to the game till January 24th, but it will be downloadable to some people by January 16th. So hopefully by January 16th for my events, I could at least implement it then. What's getting hit? What's getting changed? Well, we have Eyes Roulette, Master of Right, Super Soldier, Domination of Darkness, ready to get defeated. We are strengthening some character exclusive skills to make them easier to use. And then we're going to go in depth with all this. Set Delta Excel's being changed. We're updating the text description so the skill's not changing. Skill Vision. We will increase the visibility of the opponent's hand, so it's not changing the skill really, it's just making it more functional. Harpy Hunting Ground. This skill is given a harder activation condition as it has made it difficult for trap card-based decks, not Pendulum, they don't care about Pendulum, to be used in the game for a long time. And then Contract Procrastination. This skill consistently devastates decks that use effects during the standby phase, so we are giving a harder activation condition. Well, let's go straight away into Eyes Roulette. I'm not going to bore you with the full effect. I'm just going to go straight into what they change. No longer has a turn restriction. It used to require turn 4 and onward to activate the skill. The skill we would put in, from a deck list like this, we would put in a Summon Skull into our deck. We would randomly add a Red Eyes card from our deck to our hand, hopefully being a Red Eyes Fusion. And then we had Red Eyes Fuse for the Archfiend Skull Dragon, and that'd be great. But it was only on turn 4 and onward. Otherwise, this skill did not do anything. So, great change. I'm going to go back to the deck. We're going to replay it. We're going to see how much better it is. And we could at least summon the Archfiend Skull Dragon on the first turn we could attack and then go in and maybe win. So that's good. Another change. There's a big one. Master of Right's Super Soldier. Now, all this that you see on the screen is gibberish. You're not going to understand this. I'm going to have to break this down for you. Master of Right Super Soldier appears to have a slightly less restrictive deck building requirement, but also has more limited use. So this also does not do a justice of what changed. A lot has changed. This is big, and it is good. So let's see what's good. The old skill, I just highlighted the differences. So Super Soldier Synthesis was from your deck, and the Super Soldier Rebirth was from your hand or deck that you would be able to place in the field. You would only be able to special summon ritual monsters, and you had to have at least 9 Blackluster Soldier cards in your deck and at least 6 different ones. So what does that mean? Let's look at the new one. As you can see, it's pretty much just the highlighted differences. Now the Super Soldier Synthesis and the Rebirth will be from outside of your deck. And the requirement for how many cards you have to play in your deck is 6 instead of 9 and 4 different cards instead of 6. So what does that look like? To play the older deck, you had to, at minimum, your deck had to look something like this. You would have to, this would be your base, and then you'd have to build on top of this. Now, the new requirements go down to this. So that's a lot more extra cards we could play. We essentially removed 5 cards from the requirements, not having to play the trap, that's great. You're still going to play Super Soldier Synthesis, but now it doesn't have to be in your deck to activate the skill. You're not forced to play more BLS monsters. I'm not sure if we even want to play the Gaia or not. And this is really big. The Super Soldier Synthesis and the Rebirth are played from outside of your deck. It felt bad when the Rebirth had to be played from your hand or you didn't have a Synthesis in your deck to be played. And another big change is it said you could only special summon ritual monsters. Now you can only special summon Blackluster Soldier monsters, which means the Evening Twilight and the Sacred Soldier could not have been summoned before, but now they can. So now we have a combo with the Super Soldier Rebirth and the Sacred Soldier. When you use the skill to set the Rebirth onto your fields, you don't have to wait a turn. You could use it right away. So right away, we could flip it up, send our Blackluster Soldier to the graveyard to summon a Sacred Soldier from the hand, and that's going to banish on summon. banish a card in the field. You could not make that play before, so this is a huge, huge change. We do need a banish light or dark to even activate this to banish. You can also summon the Evening Twilight as soon as you have a light and dark on the grave. So that's big. Could not do this before. This is what an older deck looks like, which we'll be having to change up upon that. My questions for the deck are, why do I still need to wait for turn 2 to activate the skill? Not cool. And why am I only allowed one monster effect? BLS gains multiple banish effects, and now if I want to do this combo, I'm not able to activate my BLS on the field. I have to wait for this one to activate. But it's big. Big changes. Less requirements, new combos, new plays. I'm excited for it. You should be excited for it. Let's get to the next part. So the next skill, Domination of Darkness. Now, Domination of Darkness has actually been doing well, decently, kind of. Back in November, we have a spicy win streak, a community tournament it topped, more spicy win streaks, an anytime tournament it topped. It had some decent success, not enough to be on the tier list, and there have been big changes with it. What are the big changes? Let's see. The old versus the new. The old requirements of the Domination of Darkness is you needed 10 or more cards that are Evil Hero in your deck, Evil Hero cards, and your extra deck could only be Evil Hero monsters. So this is what you were seeing. This is what a deck list looked like. This is what the extra deck looked like. The new is you only need 5 Evil Hero monsters, and your extra deck only needs to at least have 5 Evil Hero fusions. Your other fusions still have to be Evil Heroes, but you could play Exceeds now. You could play Synchros without restriction. The old requirement, your deck and extra deck had to look like this before you would even add extra cards to the deck. At minimum, your deck and extra had to look like this, and then you build the deck. The new requirement, look at that. From old to new, you only would need to play 2 edge and 3 gold, and then you could build the deck however you want, and then your extra deck would just have to be the 5 fusions, and the Exceeds are not required. It's just an example of extra cards you could put in now. So that is big. Now, let's talk about the big one. Harpy Hunting Ground. Before I talk about Harpy Hunting Ground, Ready to Get Defeated was changed. No one really cares. It no longer has the stipulation that the monster needs to be special summoned this turn. Gives a Galaxy Eyes plus 1000 attack. No one was using it. Set Delta Excel. Text change. Who cares? Psychic Vision. A quality of life boost. Who cares? Not really changed. Harpy Hunting Ground. Oh boy. What the hell did they do? Can only be used at the beginning of the main phase of your first turn. Return 1 card from your hand to your deck. Place a Harpy Hunting Ground to your field zone from your deck. If you control a field spell, place it in the graveyard. So what did it do before? What did it do? Before the duel started, for no restriction, no requirement, no downside, you had a Harpy Hunting Ground on the field right away, turn 1. Harpies are the sole tier 1 deck. They are the best deck in the game right now. And this is a big reason why. On summon, your Harpy will destroy a back row, and it's not once per turn. And you could summon 2 to 3 to 4 Harpies in a single turn, just wipe out the back row, wipe out the Pendulums. I believe this single-handedly has been holding down Pendulums. So if we search on what's the most popular Pendulums, the most popular Pendulums are these. These decks are being restricted by Harpies. Dino Mist, Abyss Actor. We got some Aether in there. Triple D then just got hit by the freaking skill nerf. What the hell, Konami? We'll talk about that in a bit. So what does this mean? Is the deck now dead? Well, you have to use it on your first turn. And that means if you go first or second, plus it has to be the first action you take in the main phase. You cannot save it for another turn. That is huge for if you go first as a Harpy deck, you can't just wait till the next turn to activate it. You have to return a card back in the deck to play it, which unless you have the Harpy continuous spell to destroy to then search for 3 Harpies in the end phase, you don't want to play Harpy Hunting Ground your first turn. especially if you have to lose a card from your hand. So on your first turn, it is almost a full -1 with no contribution, and you do have to summon your Harpies to destroy it. You can't summon your Harpies, then play the skill afterward. You have to play it right away on your first turn, and if you choose to not do so, that's it. You do not get the skill for the rest of the duel. It's no longer a +1. You now have to lose a card out of your hand to play it, and it has to be played in your deck. 86% of Harpies do not play Harpy Hunting Ground in their deck, and now they have to if they want to use the skill. So the breakdown is generally on your first turn, you're going to want to have a turn 1 play where you have a Cyber Slash Harpy and back row, and generally you do that through making a Cyber Slash, activating Feather Rest to draw 2 cards, and that's how you're going to do well. And usually with only 4 cards in your first turn, you're going to need as much as you can to make that happen. Well, if you choose to have that normal Cyber Slash, Feather Rest, and a draw back row, you're very likely no longer going to have Harpy Hunting Ground. That's it. You're not going to be able to Oracle it back in the end phase. You're not going to be able to use the skill later. But because the skill is requiring you to play Harpy Hunting Ground in your deck, you'll just have it in your deck, and you'll summon a Perfumer later, and then you'll just search it. So first turn, I think this is a big nerf. Big hit to Harpies going first. They have to search with Perfumer later for it. But the skill's still good going second. It's still great. No longer a free +1, and it does take a spot in the deck. But if I'm going second, I no longer have to worry about my Harpy Hunting Ground being destroyed on the first turn. So a big example was if you had Orthros. Orthros could destroy the field spell on your first turn. A big play, I think, with Abyss Actors. Abyss Actors wanted to destroy the field spell on the first turn. With the Abyss King script, you no longer can destroy the Harpy Hunting Ground on the first turn. It's not there. And now that it's protected, they just have to lose a card out of their hand, and then they pop up all your Pendulums. Pendulums will get popped. So is this worse for Pendulums? If the overall relevance of the deck goes down, then this is good for Pendulums. But if you actually face against Harpies and they are going second, you're in trouble. So they do have to go second for that great benefit of protecting their field spell on the first turn. But maybe the overall relevance is, will the deck be dead? I think it will still be good, just no longer tier 1. So this should, overall in the grand scheme, it should be at benefit of Pendulum players. Pendulum players should benefit from this. I have to ban the skill until it's changed in game because I can't recreate the skill. It's too hard to recreate, and I think it's too much of a big deal to just leave it in my events. I was potentially considering just leaving it, but we're going to take it away. So if you want to watch Duel Links meta events for the next month, Harpies are going to be greatly reduced in strength. Now, is the deck playable without the skill? Maybe they're going to play without the skill after the nerf, or only play without the skill within the Duel Links meta events maybe. Or you have someone like Bixie who did well. Harpy's Last Will. He played Harpy's Last Will with this. This is a fully legal deck. What the heck is the Last Will? Let's see what that is real quick. The Harpy Last Will, if you have 4 more Harpies in your graveyard, you add a Harpy Feather Duster to your hand, and you cannot respond to them adding the Harpy Feather Duster to the hand, then you get to activate Harpy Feather Duster and wipe up the entire back row. So that's a full back row wipe. That is nuts. And maybe that's going to be the new skill to play. Moving on to other changes. Another change, another big change. Contract Procrastination. Can be used at the beginning of your turn, similarly to how it's been. If you have a dark contract, skip your standby phase. Same, no changes. This skill can only be used once per duel. What the hell? What the hell? I'm not okay with this. Why? Why? Well, Konami says why. Why are they doing this? This skill consistently was devastating decks that use skills or effects during the standby phase, so we're giving it a harder activation condition. They did not make it harder to activate. They just made it only activatable once per duel. So, Konami, what the hell? Garunix would not come out. Daedalus would not activate. Clock Tower wouldn't get its 4th counter. The Weather Painters would be stuck in the Abyss. So I guess these were the decks that made the new Triple D deck get nerfed. Now, I can agree with not hurting these decks, but look at this. 100% of Triple D decks play the skill. 100%. 100% use the skill. Now, were they abusing the skill? Only some. A slight amount of abuse. A tiny bit were abusing the Golden Castle of Stromberg, where to keep this on the field, you had to banish the top 10 cards of your deck during your standby phase, and they would keep this up forever, and then your opponent pretty much could never attack into you. Okay, I could agree that this was not cool, but I feel like there was a middle ground. They were using this at 100%, not because of this. It was because so they don't lose life from their dark contracts. During the standby phase, they lose 1,000 life. So what was the alternative change? So before we do that, what did a Triple D deck look like? Here are some samples of Triple D. Contract Procrastination won a community tournament. Here are some anytime tournaments. Here is an abuser abusing. Wait, it's only in the side deck. That wasn't, he's not even main deck abusing. So maybe with the nerf of Harpy Hunting Ground, they were really afraid of this becoming more popular, which I could understand. But the alternative required effort from Konami. They had to reprogram the skill, which would have been the alternative, which means that's effort, which means lost money. Effort equals losing money, so that's why they did not do that. What could they have done? The new skill example, I have only underlined the change. You activate the skill when you have a dark contract. Any effect damage that would be inflicted to you during your standby phase is reduced to 0. That's it. Or nullify the damage from just dark contracts. So even with my change, you could still be cheeky, have a fun time with maybe Mirror Wall. That could be cool. No one was really abusing that, but why not allow use of cards that aren't really used in the game? That could be cool. This would hurt Lava Golem, but who cares? Is this really devastating a Lava Golem deck? No, it was devastating this and being abused with that. So with this change, that fixes all of that. Konami, stop being lazy. Just revisit the skill or just change your mind. It's not too late. This is not being implemented until a month. This is a huge slap in the face for anyone that invested in Triple D. Oh, well, you didn't touch your cards? Yeah, but I got the cards because of the skill. And then you take the skill away, then I wouldn't have got the cards. You understand that? All right. Now, was I surprised by anything beyond that? I thought they would hit D-Draw, maybe make it 1,500 life or lower to activate. Gia keeps saying that because Yami Yugi's the main character of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something. I don't even know anything about that. That's probably why they're not hitting the skill. So you tell me, is that the reason why they're going to leave D-Draw the way it is? Grit, I thought they would maybe hit because of the Red Eyes Cancer one-turn kill deck, but maybe not. I thought Smile World would have possibly been hit because of Amano Awado. And that's it. Those are the changes. I'm live right now on twitch.tv/DuelLinksMeta. We're going to review the new box with Dante, Burning Abyss, right now. If you're watching this within the upload of maybe 4 or 5 hours, let's do it.